Good evening, everybody, and welcome. I'm Scott Dinhofer, and I have with me James Keeley, Assistant Race Director for TriQuest Triathlon, the inaugural. Um, we're so excited. This is something that I've mused on for a couple of years, and a friend of mine who runs some endurance events said, just put a stake in the ground and do it. And here we are now having done that. The goal tonight is to familiarize all of you with uh, the layout of the park where we are holding this, the layout of the courses, details of the courses, and of course, give a chance for some Q&A at the end. Right now, we have you all muted, and when the time comes, we would ask you to unmute yourselves. I forget the official name for the chat, but we will use that to ask questions. So feel free um, to do that. James, anything you would like to introduce?
No, just super excited to be kicking this series off. I think those that have previewed the course in some fashion already sort of understand. It's an absolutely stunning cycling course in really pristine Vermont gravel, and it's a brutal run course, which is going to test everyone. Scott and I have run it, of course, and understand the challenge, and we hope you're going to enjoy it and kind of take all of that on board. But it's going to be a great day out.
And with that, I'd actually like to take a couple of minutes because I'm realizing that nobody really knows who you or I are and what our backgrounds are, and what makes us people to create this beautiful triathlon in the new idea of gravel. I am kind of a lifelong adventurer. I first fell in love with the mountains of Vermont when I was 15 years old and hiked the Long Trail, which is a hiking trail that runs from one end of Vermont to the other along the main spine of the Green Mountains. I did that with a small group of about six people. Um, a As an outdoorsman, I'm a search and rescue professional. I'm actually sitting in the Killington, Vermont Police Department right now, subsequent to a training for that. And about 15 years ago or so, a friend of mine convinced me to do my first Ironman triathlon, which was the first triathlon I signed up for, but I did do a sprint and a half along the way. And since then, I'm about to do my 14th full Ironman. I've done six halves, and I have qualified for two full and one half Ironman World Championships. And James has me beaten there with three World Championship qualifications and one 70.3 qualification. And I will let him tell you about himself.
That's good, Scott. Yeah, very briefly, from the UK originally, been in the US for 23 years, got into triathlon 14 or 15 years ago. And, as most of us, it's a slippery slope. You start with your first sprint because someone challenged you to do that. And then you realize it was actually quite good fun. And here we are. So Scott and I kind of trained together and spent a lot of time kind of working on our triathlon training. And it's been a lot of fun putting this together. And as I said, I think we're looking forward to really a challenging but good day out.
Okay, so the first thing I would like to acquaint everybody with is the diagram of the park. And if you give me a humor me for a minute, I am a little challenged when it comes to Zoom, as I don't usually conduct Zoom meetings with visual aids. How I wish I had one of my 20-year-old children with me right now. I know the share screen is around here somewhere. There we go. Um, so this is a map of, excuse me, a satellite photo of Camp Plymouth State Park in Plymouth, Vermont, which is the northern end of the town of Ludlow. Off screen to the left here is the lake, and off screen to the left is Route 100. Scout Camp Road is where you will drive in, most likely. If you're coming from the south, you'll come from the bottom of the picture. If you're coming from the north, you'll come from the top of the picture. Any of you who have visited the park, the red dot signifies the main entrance to the park. That is not where you will be coming into park. A little lower down, I have this red arrow pointing to the yellow line. This is the parking area that we will be facilitating um, your arrival with. We do need to keep a head count of everybody coming in so we can even up with the state park people at the end of the day. And you'll be parking in this area. Please pay attention to the volunteers there and observe their directions. Uh,
Scott, just to jump in, I don't know if you saw the chat. There's people in the waiting room.
I did not. Thank you. Um, think we got them all. Thank you, whoever um, flagged that. We'll back up here. Um, Assuming you could see this diagram now.
Yeah.
Okay, so for everybody who's new, all you've missed is James and myself introducing ourselves. We will be putting a recording of this online, so you will be able to see it there. This is Camp Plymouth State Park. Scout Camp Road is where you will arrive on. If you're coming from the north, you will come from the top of the picture. If you're coming from the south, you'll come from the bottom of the picture. If anybody's visited the park previously, the red dot signifies the main entrance to the park. We will not be using that for your arrival as we are starting out before the park opens. This red arrow down here is where you will enter. We will have signage there, and you will park in this area where there's marked in yellow. Please pay attention to the volunteers there as to where they would like you to park. And we do need to get an accurate head count. We will have somebody waiting at the main entrance there to see how many people in your car. Um, there will be a TriQuest flag right here, which will kind of show, excuse me, right here. We'll show you the way. There is a bridge in here, great handrails and a couple ramps, but you will probably have your bicycle and a backpack with all your gear in it coming across here to this dirt road. And this red star is a pavilion where we will be having registration and kind of our little headquarters in the park. Continuing down this paved path, you will come to where transition will be and be able to set yourselves up in transition. And of course, there is the beachfront. Um, Flow of the event will be that you will exit the water with a red line, come to transition, make your change, get on your bike, come to our mount line on this paved path. Um, Mount up, and you will quickly be back on the dirt road, exiting the park where this blue line is. And you will make a left turn out of here. And when you come back into the park, you will be coming down. This is a steep hill, and making a left turn back in where this blue line is. Into transition. Again, doing your change, coming out of transition, you will run out through the blue line and run back in through the blue line. Um, so hopefully that answers all of that. James, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think other than clearly we'll be marking it all out, and there'll be volunteers at the the key points of this.
Uh, just want to check Zoom and make sure there's nobody waiting. Um, Next up, let's go to the swim. Um,
Do you
This
want to
is the
pause? Sorry, Scott. Do you want to pause just in case there are any questions people want to raise now?
sure, but I feel like we're probably going to answer some along the way. So I'm not on the Zoom screen. Is anybody asking questions?
No, no chat yet. It's fine.
Um,
Are there bathrooms in transition?
there is near the pavilion. There are two, a men's and a women's bathroom. That's part of the state park, and there will also be three porta potties near the pavilion as well. Unfortunately, they won't be right at transition, but they will be nearby at the pavilion, which is on your way out of the park. Um, watch out for Jessie. She's actually a very strong rider, I have learned, and likes to sandbag. Um, so sorry, folks, navigating here. So this is your swim course. Originally, I had set this up to go counterclockwise.
Not
Uh,
sharing, Scott.
I'm not sharing. I'm not sharing?
You're just sharing the, you were just sharing the transition.
That should solve the problem.
Yep.
Okay, so thank you. Originally, this was to go clockwise. But given that we're only doing 80 people and that we are doing, well, hopefully we'll have more than 80 people. We have 84 athletes signed up. Some of those are relays. So a little less than 80 people swimming at this point. But to give this a better chance of breaking up before we hit that first turn buoy, we're going to go counterclockwise. So we'll have, this is about a 250-yard stretch out to this turn buoy coming down. This is probably about a 50-yard stretch between these two buoys at the bottom, coming back up. So when you swim off the beach, you will be looking at two buoys in a row, and you will skip the first buoy and go to the second buoy to make your left-hand turn. And from there, another left turn, and a right turn. We will have, as of now, 8 or 9 volunteers on kayaks or paddle boards in the no man's land in the middle. They will, if you're swimming off course, they will guide you back gently. If you do need the assistance of stopping and resting, you can grab onto a kayak or a paddleboard, um, but you cannot make forward motion with them. So they'll be instructed to try to hold steady and help you not do that. We will also have a power boat on the outside over here, and we will stay far enough away from you and make sure that that's not a problem. But one lifeguard will likely be on a paddleboard, and one lifeguard will likely be in the power boat. Um, and there will be two large teardrop flags right here on the beach where you exit. And we will have flags marking your way and or a chute to transition, which is in this area. Excuse me, it's in this area right here. There any questions popping up on the swim?
Not on the swim, but a general question. Can we camp at the park?
You need to go online to the Vermont State Parks and see if there's a reservation. I believe it is available. The parking area is, excuse me, the camping area is actually off screen, kind of. Can you see my Excel menu here or no?
Yeah.
It's kind of where this Excel
Yeah,
icon is.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a group camping area that can accommodate about 20. So if people do want to camp, I would say message me on the first, if you could do me the favor and check the state park website. I believe as of yesterday, both campsites over there were still available. But given that they accommodate 20, TriQuest will rent it for you and then you'll be able to stay there. But just message me through the email that you've been getting emails from, and we can connect and make that happen. So hopefully that answers the question. Okay, to move on. Also, if for some reason you can't get the campsite at the park, nearby is Coolidge State Park that does have campsites. But I'm pretty confident that our campsite is available. Going back to, so we're going to go to the bike course here now. You will come out of the state park, make a left. Uh, while we are very strong believers, as is most of the gravel cycling community, that one should be self-supported and be able to navigate routes with a device. We are aware that there are a number of people that have older devices that don't allow for GPS routing. We will have um, arrows at every key intersection guiding you. So, hopefully we are going to put those out late night Friday night. So, hopefully we don't have any vandalism or theft of them, which is actually the real reason why so many race directors have moved in that direction, from what I'm told. This is your beginning of your bike course here. There's a nice little punchy climb right here that you will be in your bottom gear for. Um, you will go pretty quickly past this little thing on the right is the run route. It will not be marked when you're in the bicycle because we don't want to confuse people. But this is a nice road, reasonably flat and speedy, and you will come to this paved section and make a right turn on Route 100 North. There will be a sheriff's deputy here. I would like to remind people this is not a closed course. There is vehicular traffic possible anywhere on this course in both directions. Route 100 is a pretty major thoroughfare. At this hour of the morning, it's not too bad. Um, but there will be, in this part of the route, two sheriff's deputies. I would like to point out to people that state of Vermont did a really nice job repaving this about 3, 4 years ago, and they put a really good shoulder in. I'm a believer that the phrase share the road is not just for cars to ensure they're being good to us, but it's also for us to be good citizens and share the road with cars where we can. And given the shoulder on this section of Route 100, it's really, there's no reason to be to the left of the white line just about anywhere in this section. The good news is when you go through Plymouth, the speed limit comes down to 35 for a good stretch. Um, this is a relatively flat section. That said, there are a couple of little climbs that even on my tri bike, I'm only doing like 8 or 9 miles an hour on. And they don't feel like climbs, and you're like, why am I going so slow? But they're there. Uh, After about 7 1/4 miles, you will make a left turn on this what's called the CCC road. This is the climb that people talk about. There used to be a race in this part of the country called it moved location in Vermont. It's called the Vermont Monster. This climb was called the Monster. There will be a sheriff's deputy down here, and the climb ends right about here. Um, I've done this climb probably a half a dozen times in the last 2 months. I used to hate this climb. I now kind of enjoy it. Um, I the way I get through this climb is I break it up mentally into quarters. Every half mile is a quarter. Get through the half mile, get through the next half mile, and before you know it, you're done. This turn here is the halfway up point. For the next 2/10 of a mile, many people will find themselves shifting up 1 or 2 gears. It flattens out a little bit here, and then kind of your steepest section is right near the top. The top 7/10 of a mile roughly, and then it flattens out, and you have a nice speedy section through here. You uh, you will climb again um, as you roll through here. And when you do come around, particularly this left-hand turn, which will not be evident to you, actually scratch that. This left-hand turn, and it will be pretty evident to you. Really don't stay to the left on this road. It's a blind corner. There could be car traffic coming the other way. It's not frequent, but if it happens, you'll find yourself in a bad predicament. You'll be coming downhill as you merge into this road that comes from the north. The chances of running into traffic that's coming from your right are almost zero, as this is a road that dead ends at the snowmobile trail. You can see this road through the woods very well as you're above it. So, just after mile 12, take a look over your right shoulder and you'll be able to see if there are any vehicles coming. You will then have a screaming downhill into North Shrewsbury. It will turn to pavement. I think that most people will not be stopping at the aid station, depending upon how long it takes you to ride this course and how hot of a day it is. We're talking about I'm 60 years old and it takes me 2 hours and 15 minutes to ride this course. But you will see in the middle of North Shrewsbury on your left is a general store called Pierce's, and we will have our aid station there. There will be a porta potty there. There will be jugs, one with water, one with tailwind, and there will be some products from our friends at Untapped, some maple gels and waffles. You will then turn left. Won't even feel like a left, except for the fact that there's a road that goes to a right. There'll be an arrow here on Eastman Road, and you will continue your journey. This really becomes, the climb. It's the grind. You work hard there, but the rest of this course is, particularly in this section here, it's rolling. Look around. There's horses, there's cows, there's wild turkeys. Um, Special prize if people, I'll have to come up with the special prize here. If people notice the bear or bears, there are two bears in this course. They're always there. They're always in the same spot. And if you spot them, you'll get the joke. James is scratching his head because I know he doesn't know what it is. Um, You, the two places I warn you about is you will have a right turn that says Russellville Road. We will probably put a sign around here. This is a pretty sharp right turn, and it is pretty loose gravel in the corner. This is about mile 15 and a half. And if you take it wide, as most people tend to do, you could have a problem with oncoming traffic. So I would warn you about that. And then when you come down here, this is a section where you kind of bear left, and then you come to this intersection where you make a hard left. You have a stop sign. You will notice that the opposing traffic has a stop sign, but cross traffic does not have a stop sign. And it's a pretty blind corner looking to your right. So that's really, right at mile 17. I'd warn you about that. This one's pretty visible to your right. I can't recall. As a matter of fact, pretty sure this is actually a class 4 road in here. So you won't really see too much traffic coming from your right there. For those of you that do have a GPS unit with Climb Pro on it, somewhere around mile 20, you will be told you have a 3.5 mile climb or so, or 2.5 mile climb. It's actually a series of ladder steps coming up along Lake Nineveh. And it's actually quite pretty in this section, and you usually do see some wild turkeys around here. Um, the last punchy climb is not on Climb Pro, is like right here. And then there's a steep descent off the back, followed by a sharp right-hand turn, which will not be evident to you because right in front of you going straight is a class 4 road that won't look like a class 4 road. So be aware that you're going to have to make a right-hand turn. We'll have signage here as well. Um, and then this is just a beautiful flat road in here. Um, I'll draw your attention. The road narrows right here. We will put a sign here reminding you that this is two-way traffic. This looks almost, and almost is probably a stretch, like a really good class four road. It's just a nice dirt road. If you're a good descender, you could really rip this. I would just caution you, don't be on the left. It is two-way traffic. If we can, we're going to try to get a volunteer here where the paved section ends, or where the fork happens, just to let cars know to be aware of cyclists coming down. Uh, as you approach this junction here, there will be two signs. There will be one that says stop ahead and one that says stop. Um, 50 feet after the stop sign, if you're on the right side of the road, is a pretty severe drainage ditch from rain. If you stay to the left as these roads merge, it's like butterly smooth, flat. But if you're on the right, you need to be prepared to bunny hop this ditch. You will then have this nice, long, fast downhill on freshly paved roads. I think they paved this last week. Um, I'd love to say they did it for us, but that's not true. There'll be a sheriff's deputy at this intersection. And then you'll go through a series of climbs, this last section of which is actually a little steep. You'll make your left-hand turn on Scout Camp Road. And you will quickly accelerate down this hill. And within about 200 feet of it flattening out, you'll be making a hard left turn into the plow, into the, excuse me, the park. So just to be aware of that. So that's my quick 30 seconds on the bike course. I don't know if James has any comments. You're muted, James. Do I need to unmute you?
Yeah, a few comments, Scott. One is just to put slightly different emphasis on the aid station. We're prepared for everybody to stop, so don't feel you need to, you know, cruise by. And there is I think Scott, you may have mentioned it. There is a portaloo there. There's going to be drinks and some nutrition. It is a very fast approach to the aid station, so I'll just be aware as you hit that tarmac, you need to, think about slowing down if you want to stop. And this aid station, it's not like, it's stop and self-serve. So it's not that people are going to be there holding things for you to grab as you whiz by. If you need to stop, you should have to stop and pick something up. Um, Scott, you've mentioned class floor for a number of times. I'm just thinking some people may not know what that reference is, so you might just want to expand on that in a
Good,
moment.
good point.
Um,
For those
the
that
other
don't know
thing,
what a portaloo is, James speaks British and most of us speak English. That would be a porta john.
um,
And I'm sorry, the question.
well, in a moment, hang on. So class four, you want to come back and talk about that?
Class four roads are ancient roads. Your run course is a class four road. You might think of it more as a Jeep trail or a really rundown, unmaintained, rocky. Some people in this part of Vermont actually enjoy riding them. If anybody, I know there's a few people here that raced the Vermont Overland last Sunday. There's quite a few class four sections there. Our goal with this event is to make something that really anybody of any ability can do on a bike. I think people have asked me about how bad is the gravel on this course. These are hard-packed dirt roads. They are maintained roads, and they are, I think many people in this race could ride this course on a road bike with skinny tires, though they probably wouldn't enjoy it. And they would definitely have to be on their game in a lot of spots.
Scott, two other things. I don't actually know the answer to this question. I've answered a couple of questions in the chat, but there's a question from Joyce about is this race draft legal?
That is a great question. The answer is we have no way of policing drafting, so the race is draft legal. If you are somebody who has aero bars on your gravel bike, I would encourage you to not use those anywhere except for Route 100 and your descent on the paved portion on what's called Dublin Road, which is that last section after the drainage ditch, where it's nicely paved. But be prepared to come out of the aero bars as you approach the end at the Echo Lake Inn. You'll notice that you're coming into like a little village. What is called Tyson used to be actually quite a robust village 100 years ago. Um, if anybody knows what the famous Tyson stove is, there was actually a factory there that made that, and it's long gone. But we are draft legal. Um, Aero bars was the question that went along with that. Um, I think that answers the question.
Yeah, last one on the bike from me, Scott, is just to spend a moment talking about the KOM QOM awards on the CCC climb.
So the 2 mile CCC climb that we highlighted, we are having an award for whoever has the best KOM and QOM climb. I know many of you have private accounts, as do I, on Strava. If you want to qualify for this prize, you do need to be on Strava and you do need to make your ride public in a timely basis after the conclusion of the race. There is good cellular service at Camp Plymouth State Park. Does that cover it?
That's good. And just going back to a question earlier, Elena has looked up the camping availability, and there are two group sites available.
Okay. If people would message that they're interested in camping, I will secure one of those spots. And if you give me all your names, we can accommodate up to 20 people. It's not 20 tents, but 20 people. There are lean-tos. I will tell you from my days of hiking the long trail way back when, and the lean-tos I've seen in other parks. My comment to the park manager, I think yesterday, was that I could probably do surgery in their lean-tos because of how clean they are and painted. It's really a great state park. They are in the open in a grass field, a mowed grass field with a great fire pit, and not too far. They have their own very new park toilets. Um, I forget, I don't know the right term for those, more than an outhouse, but there's a term for those earthen toilets that have a pit underneath them. Pit toilets? Somebody knows, please put in the comments. Um, are we ready to move on to the run?
Yeah, it looks so.
Does anybody have any questions about the bike?
Sorry, Scott. One other thing is we will have someone kind of behind the last rider as a sweep. And Scott, there will be a mechanic on course. Is that correct?
Mechanic on course needs to be confirmed. We are supposed to have a mechanic from Boot Pro, both at the race site in the morning, and he'll probably do 2 circuits of the course. Um, the person that may be manning the aid station is not very technical when it comes to fixing bikes. James does not yet know who this person is. He knows the person, but he's not aware of this.
I
Um,
thought it was me.
we'll protect the innocent here. And the bear we're looking for is not Winnie the Pooh. Something else that will become evident to you during the race. Shall we move on to the run?
I think we should.
Oh, I just lost the run. So the run will exit the park the same way as the bike. If you're a early, strong biker and swimmer, just be aware of bikes entering and exiting the park as you come out. You will make a left turn and go the same way that you started the bike course. Um, this section of the road is wonderful. Somewhere around here, there's probably right around here, there's an entrance to a class 4 road. The road then parallels the dirt road that you were biking on to about this point. And then it goes very steeply up this hill. Uh, rocky, not horribly rocky, not runnable. I don't know too many people that could run this, but if anybody's done trail running, that's here in this group. I think it's find your heart rate and power hike at that heart rate. And when you hit a flat and your heart rate recovers, find the places you could run. And in this section, while it is still pretty uphill for a big portion of this, I think until really this creek. No, I think below that. I know in here there are some runnable sections. But once you get past here, you'll find, I feel like this is like grass field we may have found, James. You come up. Um, there are places to run in here when you're going up. When you're going down, there's plenty to run here. Um, at the top, you will deviate onto this jug handle driveway of this house here, where hopefully you will enjoy an absolutely incredible 40-mile view looking in this direction at the northern Green Mountains. Um, back, sorry if I'm getting anybody dizzy with this in and out. Um, back on the road, this is pretty steep downhill. You make the left turn here. You will head down to this point. We'll have an aid station here. This aid station will be equipped just as the aid station on the bike. It will have a porta-john. It will have tailwind. It will have water. It will have cups. If you do have your own bottle that you like to bring, by all means, do that. For those of you that saw the original course posted, it did continue further north. We decided that it'd be prudent for time's sake to have you flip around at this aid station and continue back. So you'll go back up the steep climb, make the right turn, do the jug handle driveway. We will likely be having a photographer here that will get a picture of you on your return with a beautiful vista behind you. And then you will make your way down the course. For those of you that are mountain goats, you will enjoy this. You know, take your time. If you're not a mountain goat, take your time. I think I'll add um, on the bike course, no great bike race has ever been won on the downhill. They're always won on the uphill. Um, it may be gravel. You may not be going as fast as you are on a road bike. If you take a spill, it's never pretty. We don't want to see anybody get injured. We're all out here to have fun. This is a great game. Nobody's fighting for slots for a world championship. We hope everybody's here to have a good time, have a great adventure, connect with nature, and connect with their fellow athletes. And the run course, you can get hurt falling down, and certainly, the worst thing is a twisted or sprained ankle. And I, having been there, would hate to see that happen. Um, when you get back down to this road, it's a nice run back in to the finish in the park. So I'm sure there are questions on the run.
Couple of things on from me, Scott. One is, and I think there's probably you can spend a couple of minutes on timing in general, but at the top of the run course, we will be kind of marking out, who's come through. So we will be, having a check, which is both a safety as well as a course confirmation. So we will be sort of registering who's coming through. That's one thing. And then the other thing is I think it is a challenging course. If you're comfortable and familiar with doing trail runs with hiking poles, I would certainly encourage you to use them on this course. I think if you're used to it, this is a course for those.
Absolutely. Just on identification of yourself during the race, we will be giving you a swim cap that will have your race number on it. The big reason for that is, we certainly don't want tragedy to happen to anybody, but it's the only way we can identify you because most people don't have a wrist bracelet with their identification. You will be given stickers for your bike. I cannot recall if we have helmet stickers. Um, we are going to have photographers out on the course. They're going to be strategically located in places where you will get, assuming we have the weather we've been having for the last 2 weeks for the most part, you will get just the most spectacular pictures you've ever gotten from a race, unless possibly you've done See the Summit. Um, there will, Kristen will answer your question in a minute. Um, you will be given a race number. You're not required to wear it anywhere except for on the run. So if you have a triathlon style race belt, you don't have to pin it to or if you have a different shirt you're going to wear for the run, feel free to pin it to that shirt ahead of time. And we will have safety pins for that purpose if that's something you're interested in doing. Um, Timing. We are doing a manual timing system for this, given the number of people we have and how spread out we expect people to be. It's not really a critical factor since we're having a mass start, one wave, and we will record your time as you cross the finish line. So you will not be getting splits for your swim, your bike, or your run separately from us. I feel like I'm being too serious. Am I being too serious?
You're always too serious, Scott. That
Um,
was a joke.
yeah, I know.
Um,
I got it. I laughed. So I think that covers our course talk. I would like to say to people after the race, we are having a local musician who's probably the favorite of the Okemo Valley, Sammy Blanchette, who's also one of our management team, will be entertaining you. I encourage you to bring a blanket or towel or something to just enjoy the park. Hopefully, we have great weather. Uh, there is one item I will confess that we have messed up on, which is the arcane way that they give permits for alcohol in events. And we did not get that right. So we will not be serving any alcohol, but we do encourage you to bring a a cooler with some libations and bring enough to share and make some friends is the encouragement I would make. We will have plenty of non-alcoholic drinks, including a good selection of athletic brews. Um, Gonna answer these backwards. Hannah, no, there are no cutoffs, and you will be far from the last person. Um, Traffic on the CCC climb is minimal. I did encounter 4 vehicles yesterday. I think early in the morning on a Saturday morning, it should be pretty light. Um, Generally speaking, the CCC road away from the edges has some hard packed areas. It's good to get out of the saddle every little bit, every quarter mile or so, and change your body position, not necessarily the hammer, but just to change your body position. When you do that, try to find the hard pack spots because if you're on sand, you will slide your rear wheel out. And if you're not experienced with that, it'll throw you for a loop. And also, if you're not experienced with shifting your weight back to get it over the rear wheel, if there is a vehicle coming, you will probably need to move to the right side, which is pretty sandy in a lot of places, but not deep sand. Um, it is a public road. Um, I think that's Ben Whitaker, if I remember your first name correctly. Cell phones are allowed. There is cell service on most of the course. It's not a bad idea. The person doing sweep is an orthopedic surgeon. Um, I myself have a wilderness first aid certification. There are other people with certifications around. We do have two different ambulance corps on call. So if there's a real issue, call 911. Uh, we will have a phone number that we will make public in our final instructions that we will send out next week, so that we can get somebody to you, whether it's just a devastating mechanical and hopefully not anything worse than that. Um, Expected water temperature. Water temperature is dropping quicker than I would have liked. Um, I live on the next lake south. 2 weeks ago, the water temperature was 77. I missed my swim today, but I'm willing to bet it's below 70 when I get in tomorrow. It's fine in the high 60s. I don't expect it to be below, it will not get below 67. I'm willing to bet on that. We're actually supposed to have a very warm week next week, with temperatures approaching 80 during the day almost every day and beautiful sunshine. And Echo Lake is, it's not the watershed that we're in is not a heavily flowing watershed, unless you get a lot of rain. And they're just, in the last 2 weeks, there's been, 20 minutes here or there of rain.
So yes, we're expecting people to wear wetsuits, but it's optional. Um, Scott, there's a question higher up from Michelle about timing splits for the relay teams.
Correct, Michelle. There won't be timing splits, and we have to figure out how the relay handoffs will happen. In transition, we will probably mark out a transition box, for the person to wait for the biker to wait for the swimmer, get tagged out, then go to their bike, um, and so on. Hopefully that answers the question. Trying to feel like we've covered everything we hope to cover. Um, Word on weather. I'm a weather guy. I've learned over the years. I used to be a competitive sailor, and we watch the weather constantly. And the one thing I learned is that a weather report, even the night before, is not always right the next day. I saw some rain forecast for next Friday on the 10-day forecast. We don't have Saturday yet. We'll have that tomorrow morning. I'm thankful it shows rain because more than likely, 10 days out, we're not going to have rain. Um, you know, One thing I can tell you is I did the 70.3 at Jones Beach, Long Island for the last 2 years. Um, the race director there, Corey, is the guy I would hope to emulate. And if I could be as 10th as friendly and nice as he is, I've hit a home run. Corey says it best. The only thing you could bring on race day is a good attitude. I raced in the rain both years in a horrible northeaster, and I had two wonderfully enjoyable races. I'd much take that over 90 degrees and heat and humidity, but I would much prefer the day of the recon ride that we had last Saturday. So everybody do a sun dance this coming week and hope for the best.
Scott, perhaps a word on prizes and the split of prizes and who's going to get them.
We are doing first, second, and third prizes for overall men and women. We're doing a first prize for the KOM and QOM climbs, and we're doing a first place prize for the relay teams. We did not have any aqua bike folks signed up at the time of the prize ordering. We will have a prize for the aqua bike. That's also a couple people who are nursing some injuries. One who is, which going, I'm going to mispronounce this, but is going to Marbella. is concerned about re-injuring themselves. And the way I left it was, if you decide in the race that you don't want to do the run and that you want to be an aqua bike finisher, just cross the finish line on your bike and, you know, get attention of whoever's there that you're finishing, and we will record your time. It might be off by a couple seconds, and you will be an official finisher. We are providing, um, I think it was a pretty cool medal that we've created for this race. Um, and the real prize here, I think, is being part of something really new. The concept of gravel triathlon. There's actually more now that we're in it. There's more than I knew that were out there. There's actually very few of them that are USAT accredited as we are. And for those of you that aren't aware, part of my calculus in saying I want to create a gravel triathlon and not just triathlon, but a series. You should all know that we are currently working on an event in the Blue Ridge Mountains in North Carolina for May. And we're trying to find a location somewhere in the upper Midwest for somewhere over the summer. But Jan Frodeno, the multiple Ironman world champion and gold medalist, has thrown himself behind a European series that so far has two gravel triathlons. So this is cutting edge. Yes, Stephen, good point. I'm glad you raised that. Yes, if any of you do a good towel change, we'll avert our eyes if your towel slips. But yes, feel free to change as you see fit in transition. If you have any other specific questions, hit up the email that you've been getting, just reply to the emails you've been getting, or hit the email on the website. It's usually myself who's answering those questions. We're trying to do this in a way that we think makes sense from our experience. We should also point out, I've mentioned Vermont Overland. For those of you who don't know what Vermont Overland is, it's a highly attended gravel race, 55 miles, 7,000 plus feet of climbing. They've capped their entries at 1,000 people, which they've done after stretching it to 1,400 people one year. The assistant race director of Vermont Overland, which is really the point here, is one of our assistant race directors, who's really just a maven on logistics and how races ought to run. There definitely have been good suggestions that we've adopted. We're going to listen to them, but we're not necessarily going to adopt every suggestion that comes our way. Um, Otherwise, I think we'd have anarchy. James, you look like you want to say something.
Yeah, it's a rather boring point, I'm afraid, but just a nudge for everyone if they haven't already done so to respond to your email about ordering sandwiches and so on. And the other thing, Scott, is maybe for you to just say a word about park entry for non-competitors.
We we are paying the fee for everybody who comes with an athlete um, to uh, to enjoy the triathlon, whether they're a spectator, fellow competitor. We just need to get an accurate count of who's in your car so we can make sure we true up appropriately with the state parks. So we do our job in supporting them. The state parks in Vermont are really beautiful, pristine places, and we want to make sure we do our part in supporting them correctly. If you have people coming with you, please encourage them to hit up the volunteer page. They will get a cool t-shirt. They will get lunch. It'll be a collector's item t-shirt, we hope, much as the 1979 Ironman t-shirts are collector's items. The 10 or 12 of them that are out there. But if they're just hanging out around transition, we can definitely find something for them to help us out with. And we look forward to including them in putting on a great event.
And so on the park entry, just to be clear, so when you will be welcomed as you come into the park by one of our volunteers, and they'll just be asking and making a note of who else is in your car so that we can tally up and make the requisite payment to the state park. So don't be surprised if that question's asked.
Uh, Evan, I believe that the latest we can sign in on Friday is 6 p.m. If you're going to be staying in the area, hit us up on that email. We might be able to meet you, and any packet we can hand out on Friday is going to speed things in for others. Kristen, good question. I believe 6:45 would be the earliest check-in thereabouts. Um, we're going to get a detailed email out to you folks on likely Tuesday. Someone else cannot pick up your packet, and that is, the reason for that is simply it's a USAT rule that has something to do with insurance. We really need to see your driver's license and confirm you are who you are.
And Scott, I think with the 6:45 registration opening, we should make the point, which I think is correct, is that people shouldn't arrive before 6:30 because there won't be access to the park before then.
There won't be access. You won't be able to get into transition. And the other thing I want to make everybody aware of is if we're backed up on getting people signed in and getting people ready, we will delay the start. We're small enough that we can say that and do that. And short of making everybody come on Friday, which I know nobody wants to do, or a lot of people can't do. We want to make sure, people aren't feeling stressed and pressured before what's already going to be a great day and a big thing. Ben, we are looking for the week before Memorial Day weekend, most likely. And with that, I'll bid you all adieu and a good evening. James, thank you. Everybody who came in, thank you. We will post this as well. Um, Good night and stay safe, and we'll see you next Saturday. Most
Good
of
stuff.
all, most of all, my biggest fear personally was throwing a triathlon that nobody would show up to. And I am just I am humble. James will attest to this. I am not a person that's easy to make speechless, but around this topic, I am speechless. I'm so grateful for the trust and enthusiasm the community has expressed for this. People who have heard about the event that late but can't make the date are really excited about it. Seeing people's reactions in person, marketing this event at Ironman Lake Placid and at the Overland last week, it's just really heartwarming, and it encourages us to continue invest money and time in building this endeavor. And I know it's going to be a great day. So we'll see you next Saturday.
Good stuff. Bye, everyone.
Good night, all.